Test, 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 test. Where is the best pint of Guinness in Sydney? Stop 3 of 3 on this East Australian extravaganza. It's been an incredible couple of weeks, lads. But after this, it is time for me to fly home. One last opportunity to look for some creamy pints here in Australia. We're in Sydney. What a view. Sydney Opera House in the background. Let's go on the hunt for a creamy pint of Guinness. Right, lads, just before we head to pub one, I want to give 2 honourable mentions. One to the Mercantile Bar, apparently the most popular Irish bar in Sydney. It's closed, it's under renovation. What can you do? The second one is a pub that probably had as an equal amount of recommendations as the pub I'm about to go to now. The pub is called the Snug Bar in about 45 minutes south of here. So it was just too far away to go. Had a lot of recommendations, but shout out to the Snug Bar. But you're miles away, we were never getting out to you. The video, I suppose, is more for if you're in Sydney, staying in the city centre, where can you go for a nice pint of Guinness? Right, lads, pub one here in Sydney, up there with the most recommended pubs in Sydney, PJ O'Brien's. I've been seeing a few of these PJ O'Brien's. I don't know if it's a bit of a franchise. Been seeing them in I think there's been one in each city I've been, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney. But this is the first one I've actually found myself in. So it was very highly recommended. PJ O'Brien's, let's have a look. Right, lads, here we are, PJ O'Brien's, first pub in Sydney. Busy enough, the calm before the storm, before the Lions tour ascends on Sydney from Melbourne. I've been following it around, lads, for the last couple of weeks. It has been unbelievable crack. Anyway, I'll get straight stuck into this because it's been sitting there for a minute or two chatting to Fergal, the owner, Colin, the barman, sound fellas. Obviously, the first thing you'll notice, you don't need me to tell you, that kind of, I never know, is it wetness or is it grease around the glass? But because it's there, it would suggest it is because another glass was stacked inside it, but I could be totally wrong. So visually doesn't look great, but I guess it's going to be all more about the taste. There is a few little micro bubbles in the head, not the biggest head in the world, but not the worst. Yeah, just has a few small bubbles in the head. Doesn't look super thick and creamy, but listen, we'll get stuck in. We'll let the taste do the work. Sláinte, first pub in Sydney. So the common theme, if you've watched the other Australia videos, Brisbane and Melbourne, the common theme has been, the Guinness has been out of, say, 9 pubs in the other 2 videos. I think 7 or 8 of them, the Guinness was too cold. And it's not absolutely Baltic here, but it is quite cold. But it's not like brain freeze, can't even hold the pint in your hand kind of cold. So temperature isn't actually that bad. Taste-wise, not the thickest, creamiest, richest pint I've ever had, but not disgracefully bad. Some of the pints around Australia, because it's made here, it's made, I've said 3 different things in 3 different videos. I've said it was made in South Australia. Now I've been told it's made in New South Wales. Regardless of where it's made in Australia. It's not made in Dublin. Some people said it's made in Dublin, shipped over. It is absolutely not. So it's not the same product at the end of the day. General pints around Australia have had this really metallic, really overly roasted flavour. You nearly feel like you're drinking a pint of Beamish filled with mercury. That's the best way I would describe it. So the standard has not been great. I'll be totally honest with you. But this one isn't too bad. It probably tastes a little bit better than I was anticipating because, like I said, it didn't look incredible just because of the glass and stuff. It's not bad. It's not bad, lads. Like, the other pints were having this real roasted flavour and then a horrendous aftertaste. Whereas that doesn't have much of an aftertaste. So I'm pretty happy with it. Shtick is starting to develop on the side of the glass, which we love to see. That cream is starting to hug the glass. Thankfully, the most recommended pub in Sydney has somewhat delivered. I'm not going to say it's amazing, but it's somewhat delivered. This is a nice big open pub, big massive screen up there. They're replaying the Lions and the First Nations Pacifica game that I was actually at last week in Melbourne. Honestly, lads, the crack has been unbelievable. If you ever get the chance to come on a Lions tour, I can only speak on an Australian Lions tour, but wowee, and I feel very privileged to be able to go. I've just had the time of my life catching up with lads from back home. Anyway, you don't care about that really, you just want to know where's the best pint. I'm not going to sit here and say that's an amazing pint, but it is not bad. Australia scale, it's an okay temperature. Could be slightly warmer, but it's an okay temperature. Taste-wise, a little bit of that kind of roasted crack going on, but not too overly powerful, not a bad aftertaste. Australia scale, I'm gonna go. What the fuck was I giving the other places? I'm gonna go like 8.3 out of 10. Might get like I think it's pretty much add 1 in Australia. Probably like a 7.3 back home, which is still a solid score. And an 8.3 out of 10 Australia scale. We move on. I'm having fun. I'm still having fun. I miss home, but I'm still having fun. Right lads, the second pub on our Sydney session is the Fortune of War. Apparently Sydney's oldest pub, so not necessarily an Irish pub, but we don't give a shit if it's Irish or Australian. Right lads, here we are outside the Fortune of War. I'll show you some clips of the pub inside, but it's fairly packed, which is great to see. Lions fans everywhere. I can't believe they're here already. I thought some of them would be kind of doing little trips in between, but they're here, they're on the pints. It's absolutely relentless, the amount of drinking. But sure, listen, the crack is 90. Logo on the foam. It's kind of disappearing by now, but logo on the foam. It's my first Australian logo on the foam, which is an interesting one. If you're watching the channel long enough, you'll know I've never been a fan of the logo on the foam, as Super Hands in Peep Show would suggest. Roll the clip.
Pint of Guinness, please. No logo on the foam.
No logo on the foam.
You don't buy into all that one, do you? What the old, ooh, I've got a clover in me foam. I'm so important. No, what you're doing there is you're drinking an advert, aren't you? Hey, shithead. Thank you.
Right.
You roll it every time. First thing I'm noticing, it does not feel too cold. It looks pretty creamy. A couple of micro bubbles in the head. Glass is perfectly clean, which we love. If I was to go by looks, I'd say this is going to be a very good pint. Sláinte, Fortune of War, Sydney's oldest pub. I keep getting it wrong with the temperature. I feel like it feels not that cold, and then it is cold. Not a million miles away from what I just got in PJ O'Brien's, which was an alright pint. I wish for the sake of the video I could get a seat inside, but there was just nowhere that had any sort of decent lighting. Like I could film a fucking clip like this anywhere, but it's a very cool bar inside. It's got like a bistro in front of me here. It's got the pub. It says estimated, established 1828. So that's probably right around when the old Brits came over and stole the whole country. No offense. Or maybe that was before, my history's not great. But yeah, it's a big old spot. It's like a hotel, a bistro, and then the pub is this beautiful little part in here. Got the bar in the middle, really wet, really nicely lit. Dark, wooden, kind of varnished finish, and just a beautiful pub, a really beautiful pub. Sláinte, already said sláinte. What I would say about that pint is, I would say that's probably the best you can get in Australia, because it's creamy, it is quite rich, but it just has that overly roasted flavor like you're gonna get everywhere in Australia. But in terms of an Australian pint of Guinness, I might as well give it a 10 out of 10. I'm not gonna. That's what I've learned in the last three weeks, the last 3 videos. Every pint is gonna have that roasted flavor. It's not made in Ireland, it's made here. It's not the same product, let's be honest. It shouldn't really be called Guinness. It should be called like Guinness Australia or something, Guinness AU, because it's not the same product at the end of the day. But I was chatting to one of the lads in one of the pubs here, and they were saying that there is, I was like, do Diageo oversee the making, the brewing of the Guinness here? They said, yeah, they do have people who are working here and stuff. But at the end of the day, if we're being real, it does not taste the same. I get so many messages from so many amazing people, lads. Thank you so much. Like if you're living here for like 10, 15 years, you'd probably get used to the taste of that. And then when you get home, you'll probably go, oh my God, I thought the Australian Guinness was okay. Now I've gone home and ruined it for myself. But I'd be interested to see in the comments, if you're living here a long time, what is that the case? No horrible aftertaste, a little bit of roasted flavour. But as far as Australian Guinness goes, that is lovely. You could drink them all day, and I don't think you would feel sick. Happy to give that an 8.6 out of 10 on the Australian scale. You could put that at maybe a 7.6, maybe even close to an 8 on an Irish scale. But yeah, 8.6 Australian scale. Very happy with that. That's lovely. It's creamy. Very few bubbles in the head. Rich, full of flavour. Just not the same stuff as home. Fortune and War, Sydney's oldest pub, has definitely lived up to the hype, and a really, really cool bar inside. Right lads, look at this. You can barely make me out. The sun is starting to set behind me here in Sydney. Across the road is a very highly recommended pub, the hero of Waterloo, and then you just look right down the road, you have an unbelievable view of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. What a time, what a life, what a time to be alive. Let's head in on this beautiful evening to the hero of Waterloo. Really cool bar, really cool pub, the hero of Waterloo. I've said this many times on the channel before, if you're looking for a history guru, you're in the wrong place. So if I was to try even tell you what, there's some sign outside about the Battle of Waterloo or something like that. Couldn't even tell you where Waterloo is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I barely know anything about Guinness, let alone history. So again, like I said before, the Fortune of War. Obviously not an Irish bar, but many of the pubs that have been recommended around Australia in general haven't been Irish bars, which I like. I like that a pub that's not an Irish pub can make a good pint of Guinness. The head on this looks very creamy. It's extremely white. It's probably, arguably, maybe it's because there's light coming in, but it's arguably the whitest head I've gotten in all of Australia. And I'm not gonna lie, this pub is arguably, I'm trying to think of the different places. The Drunken Poet in Melbourne was a really cool pub, had a lot of character. This pub is really, really cool. Very unique, very cool pub. Stone blocks on the walls, fireplace down the end, nice long bar. Not huge, I think there's a restaurant inside, but in terms of like pub aesthetics, really cozy, really cool pub here at the hero of Waterloo. Anyway, we'll get cracking into this pint of Guinness. No bubbles in the head, maybe one or two micro bubbles, but yeah, it looks pretty good. So launch it. It's pretty good, lads. It's pretty good. Definitely one of the freshest pints I've had. That is, yeah, I don't know. This could be total placebo. I don't know, my mind could be all over the place, but that tastes, and maybe it's because the head on that looks, in my mind, extremely clean and borderline perfectly white. But maybe it's a placebo effect. Jesus, lads. Maybe it's a placebo effect in my head that it tastes even fresher than the other pints I've had around Australia, but that tastes like it was brewed in St. James's Gate yesterday and put straight down my gullet. Oh, the burps are here, lads. It always happens around this time of the video. Must remain professional. Definitely a very crisp freshness about it. You wouldn't usually use the word crisp to describe a pint of stout, but that's fucking lovely, lads. Very few bubbles in the head. Quite creamy. Again, cold. We're in Australia. Again, this is going to be cold. Get over it. Big fan of that. Big fan. The Sydney pints have been strong, lads. And it's, do you know what the mad thing is? It's the pubs that aren't Irish pubs that are arguably producing the best stuff. Stick is very thick, very creamy ring there. I reckon we'll have a bit of an Adidas sticker job when we've another 2 sips, but this is kind of out of left field. I did not think a pub called the Hero of Waterloo. And the thing I like about this pub is like the last one, the Fortune of War, is very much tourist area central. It's literally less than a 5-minute walk from here, but it's right down close to the river, close to where the boats kind of go out. But this is like, I wouldn't say a hidden gem, but it's a couple of streets over. It has a ever so slightly more neighborhood feel to it. Like I said, you walk out the door, you look to your left, an incredible view of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So I'm a big fan of this place, lads. I can't lie. A big fan. If it wasn't so cold, I'd have it up at like a 9 out of 10 Australia scale. It's not freezing. It's definitely not as cold as some of the other pints I've had around Australia. There you go, clear as you like. 3 stripes, hope you can see them in the camera. I mean, the fresh colour of the head alone is such a taste of home. The creaminess, the shtick on the way down. The barman even said, he was like, no, you can never really trust what a barman says in his own pub while he's pulling the pint, because he's clearly going to be biased. But he did say it is usually very creamy in here. We've been told it's very creamy. Yeah, easily the best pint I've had yet in Sydney. That is an impressive pint. Such freshness. 8.8 out of 10 Australia scale. I'd be more than happy to give that like an 8 out of 10 Irish scale. The scale is all over the shop, but the fucking is nearly no point even scoring anymore. But that is a really respectable pint to be getting in Australia. Shtick to write home to your mother about. Shtick to put onto your mother on the back of a postcard. Look at the shtick I got in the Hero of Waterloo in Sydney. Impressive. Right lads, after about 15 minutes, no it wasn't 15 minutes, after about 5 minutes of what felt like a bit of a game of Cluedo, I'm now here at the Doss House. I was out, it's kind of in the back courtyard, there's different, it's downstairs, is it upstairs, is it in the middle floor, I don't know, but I found it. I was at the front, there is a pub there, this is pub 4 by the way, there's a pub at the front called Frank Max, which was highly recommended, but the Doss House was definitely recommended more. I wasn't sure if they're owned by the same person. I didn't want to ask them any questions when I was talking to people online. But the long and short of it is, I have eventually found the Doss House, which is meant to have a nice pint of Guinness, and I don't know if it's an underground job, but we will see now. Right lads, I have to say, this is one of the coolest bars I've ever seen. This is absolutely unreal down here. I don't really care what the Guinness tastes like, because this is, I am gonna recommend you this bar regardless of the Guinness. It's underground, it's the stone walls, there's candle lit everywhere. I'd say it'd be gorgeous for maybe a cocktail with the missus or something. You're not coming here with a big group of lads to have a lot of beers. You're coming here for an intimate setting, maybe to catch up with a friend, come here with the missus. This is a very, very cool bar. Sláinte. Guinness head is pretty big head, but it doesn't go below the harp, so we won't complain. Actually, not a whole lot of bubbles in the head. It was slightly spilt over when it was being poured, and then there's just that little bit of kind of a greasy glass effect going on. Not sure how much of it you can see. Never really know what you can see on camera. Sláinte, last pub of Sydney, last pub of Australia. Can you believe it? It's flown by. Cheers. Yeah, temperature's not bad, but just very much that roasted, toasted, metallic kind of Australian Guinness flavour is really shining through, unfortunately. The one kind of thing I will say is this place only opens at 5. It's only about 5:10 now. So this could be the first Guinness they poured all day, which some people argue does come into it, some people argue doesn't come into it. It's such a warm, intimate setting down here. It's amazing. And the fact that it's really hard to find, it's nearly kind of like, look, if you want to find us, you'll find us. It's like, we don't care if you find us or not. We know we're going to do good business. We know we're a good spot. Unfortunately, yeah, the pint is just way too heavy on that kind of roasted metallic Australian Guinness flavour. It's funny because I'm sure all these pubs get given the same Guinness, but some of them are obviously able to do something that just takes away a little bit of that heaviness on the flavour, because it's just too much on it. But some really fucking sick pubs in this 4 different pubs we've gone to in Sydney. I'm delighted with it. You usually don't get this sort of diversity in pubs if you only go to 4 in the city. So yeah, it's been great. I'll give that a 7.8 Australia scale. Pretty creamy, but just way too overpowering on the kind of roasted metallic Australian Guinness flavour. And that's going to be it, lads. That is the end of the Australian Guinness adventures. What a time. I've come over here for the Lions tour, saw some rugby, done some work, caught up with friends, and had the absolute time of my life. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for following along on the Australian Guinness hunt. We'll see you in the next one.